Well, hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of How Outsourcing and AI Works for Small to Medium Business. And as you've seen on this series, we dive into a bunch of different topics. And one is going to be really exciting here and specifically niche industry driven home and commercial services space. Got Chad on with us. So I'll be sharing a little background, but thanks for joining me today, man. I appreciate it.
Hey, I'm super excited to chat. This is awesome. Thanks for having me, Brad.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, Chad and I know each other a number of years. You've heard a theme in a lot of my episodes. Got a lot of great fellow EO entrepreneur organizations members, and that's how Chad and I ended up meeting and had a number of different intersections and support each other in our journey. But the whole purpose of this whole episode and podcast overall, right, is to talk about strategic growth and redefining like how you scale, right? And that involves a lot of different elements of small to medium business in today's world, especially navigating all the world of AI and technology and tools and resources and just more distractions than ever than we've got. And so he's got a lot of tremendous insight with his experience, and I'll let him share his background and building and exiting companies, and then what he's doing now and working and advising a lot of companies, a lot of great case studies and insights that he'll be able to share. And I'll be talking about as well in different ways you address and solve those, right? Everything from mindset to accountability to coaching and some of the things he's seen. And obviously we'll talk about the element to what we've seen in home and commercial services and a lot of, individual and national franchises we're working with in that space, what they're navigating and where we're helping with the world of offshoring and VAs and AI and so forth. So excited to dive into Chad's background. But as always, we promise you right up front, a quick endorphin hit when you kind of tune in and share a quick tool or resource. Have my guest and myself just share one, an app, a tool, a podcast, something maybe you've never heard of before that can be of value. So we'll kick off that. So Chad, we were talking earlier before we started, you got a great one to share with everybody, and I'll pull it up on the screen here if you can kind of give everybody a little context.
You bet, absolutely. So on Next Level Growth's website, there's an assessment tab, right? So that assessment tool just allows you to sort of rate your business and go through and just, kind of click through the assessment tab and go through it. And it's gonna send you a PDF of the, where it is and with some suggestions on how to improve it. So, I recommend people check that out. It sort of goes through the 5 things that Next Level Growth sort of focuses on, and it gives you the opportunity to sort of rate them. And then we go into, how you can help improve them essentially. So, and
just verbally walk through those for those that aren't seeing the video portion, just capturing the audio piece, kind of this wheel right here.
Yeah, you bet. So it all starts with great people, right? So every organization, and this, Brad, is how you and I met, right? So one of the ways to get great people is obviously through your business is offshore, and some of that help. Very consistent employees that way. And then optimize playbooks, getting those playbooks correct, right? So that we know, playbook is different than an SOP. An SOP is the, 100-step process to do something. A playbook is more that 10 to 12 step, how do we do that thing piece as well. And then the next thing is inspiring purpose, right? Great employees have to have an inspiring purpose to be able to function at a very high level, or what we call an elite level in an organization. And then creating that culture of performance. So the culture of performance that people are always performing at that high level. And then last is that sort of growing profits and cash flow. Every business, if profits and cash flow aren't growing, is dying, right? So your business needs to be, we got to think about it that way. Doing all those things to make the profits and cash flow grow on a regular basis.
Yeah, you and I both know as long-term entrepreneurs, man, cash is oxygen, cash is king. I mean, what's that quote? I think one of the speakers in EO talks about, vanity, revenue is vanity, but profit and cash is sexy when it comes to being successful. So
cash is oxygen, right? So if you don't have the oxygen, then we're not going to make it to landing, right? So we got to get cash is the oxygen.
No doubt, and I love this because it aligns, philosophically with some of the, the best practices that, we've heard from even, like Jim Collins, right? In terms of all of his philosophy, right? It's about getting the right people on the bus and starting with the right people in the organization. And you and I have learned more than ever. And we can preach this till we're blue in the face to young entrepreneurs of like, just pay more to get the right people on the bus from the beginning. You will thank yourself over and over again. If I could go slap my 25-year-old self around in the head, I would go tell him to go pay the $15,000 more for the right marketing person, right? Because it will be worth it in the end, right? And it's tough to digest when you're squeezing pennies and maxing out credit cards in your first business to get things out of the ground. But we know that it pays dividends.
Yeah, for sure. It's very tempting to try and save the money on like you said. But like you mentioned, I've started 11 businesses in my career, grown 11 businesses that made a profit, and that is one of those things that I probably learned along the way. those first 2 or 3 businesses, it was a hard lesson. But as you went, finding those key people and making sure they're compensated in a way that creates that culture performance is very important.
Yeah, it's more critical than ever these days, and trying to find the right people, the right skill sets.
Yeah, for sure.
On my end, I'll share one more quick, and some of you may have heard of this one as far as the quick tool, but lovable.dev. It's an incredible platform that will, literally instantly launch, a website for you. You remember back in the day, you and I launching like lemonade stands as our first businesses, and writing menus on paper and so forth. So my daughter, who's in 4th grade, she's launching this the Super Sitters website and a concept, right. Super Sitters, where she'll babysit your kids and your pets. That's part of a little entrepreneur class she's doing in 4th grade. And came home, I threw her in front of this thing, did a prompt with her on Gemini about how to promote her business, and got a video done, and literally in 3 minutes put it in here, and it built an entire website for her, like Super Sitters. So quite different than the lemonade stand journey of our beginning, as far as what these kids, the barriers to entry are lower than ever, right? As far as getting something up and going. But if you haven't checked it out, check out lovable.dev, and it's constantly evolving, but a really cool AI tool to instantly create websites and other content here.
I just wrote it down. That's amazing. Look forward to checking it out.
Yeah, it's a cool one. Well, cool, man. Well, Chad, let's, and as we kind of keep these to pretty tight and give high takeaway value for you guys. And so, Chad, just give your quick kind of background and kind of what kind of led to sort of where you are now with what you're doing from coaching consulting, because people love hearing people got real world life experience, been there, eat, sleep, breathe it, kind of what your journey has been and what's kind of led to where you are now. And then we'll start jumping into some of the things we're seeing specifically in the home and commercial services space, the biggest challenges that people are navigating and growing and scaling their businesses, and how you and I are kind of solving it in sort of different ways.
Yeah, you bet. So 11 businesses in my career. Started my first one when I was 15. And out of those 11 businesses, 7 of those were in the home services or construction space, right? So very, very focused on that. The reason I love those businesses is in the US, people will spend more money on their nest. It doesn't matter if you own or rent, you're willing to spend more money on your nest. And I believe home services and those type of businesses are, economically inelastic, which is why I focus there. Out of those 11 businesses, essentially 6 of those passed $10 million in revenue, 4 past $25 million in revenue, and 1 to almost $50 million, $47 million in annual revenue. So I have experience in, scale, kind of breaking through those, I call them wiggle points, where those points where people sort of get stuck, right? They're like, man, my business has been at $4 million in revenue for the last 4 years, and I just don't know how to get past, right? Or I've been at 11 million, and I just can't get to 20 or 15. So I've sort of successfully done that. And when I sold my last business, I went into coaching full time to sort of help people optimize their businesses to, grow on a regular basis, scale and grow on a regular basis.
And fly a plane around from time to time, right?
I do. I'm a pilot. So I've been a pilot since 1996, coming on 30 years. That's crazy. But yeah, I do. I enjoy flying. It's a passion of mine. It's a hobby of mine. I just recently bought a cabin on an air park. It's on a little airstrip, so I can fly my plane to my cabin. It's going to be super cool. It's like 3 weeks ago I did that. So
that's awesome, man. Yeah, some of my EO and YPO4 mates are all pilots, and my buddy Ling, he talks about it being a time machine, right? Because it literally just kind of lets you just kind of give back time and be able to get to where you want to get to quick and efficient. And seeing you on Facebook, follow Chad on Facebook and see all the fun adventures that you and April are doing out there. Looks like a blast, man.
I love it. I love it for sure.
So let's dive into it's all of a lot of kind of me out there, my background, 25-year entrepreneur, and built a number of different companies, product-based companies, service-based businesses, and Chad and I both I've been in EO. How many years have you been in now?
10 years now. Yep, president of EO Arizona currently.
Oh, that's right. That's right. You were taking the president helm. There's a special place in heaven for those of us, especially a special elite place in heaven for those of us president during COVID, as I got a chance to be.
Hey,
which was
crazy year, baby. Good. That I was learning chair COVID year. That was a crazy year.
That's right. I think I did a webinar, for EO Arizona during that time frame about, because ever was there more heightened awareness about the whole world of virtual assistants and offshoring kind of during that time frame. And that's part of, we launched, Outsource Access launched in 2019 and grew about 500 employees in 4.5 years and 85 different industries that we've been able to service. And, with a mission, really, our hedgehog concept for Jim Collins is to be the most trusted and reliable advisory and offshore staffing company out of the Philippines for SMBs in the US. And it's, there's a lot of different offshore and outsourcing, but really trying to position ourselves as the most trusted and reliable, because there's a lot of doubt, fears, and concerns. And a lot of people have been burned by this journey, right? In terms of the types of companies. So trying to do it a different type of way. But along the way, we've been doing a lot of work in home and commercial services and seeing a lot go in that direction, especially with AI. As we talk about, AI isn't going to spray chemicals on a yard tomorrow or fix a gutter or turn a wrench. It's going to be a big need, and in fact, going to be a demand for it. I think some of the most premium compensations are going to be for people that are in this space. And both kind of individual and some franchise locations, as we've kind of seen. So, going back to what you shared, Chad, as far as the wiggle points, right? For what you've seen with, coaching a lot of different clients, and the website I shared obviously goes out. So that's Chad's current company with Next Level Growth, and we'll share all the information in the show notes there. But what are the recurring themes and any specific case study examples, without any divulging any client confidentiality, you can share? Because listeners always like to hear specific examples. They can kind of know misery loves company in terms of what the pains people are dealing with. But how would you define, or if you've categorized sort of what those wiggle points are that people navigate? And going back to that wheel, which of those stand out most, that are the biggest glaring issues at those wiggle points?
Yeah, so they're different as companies grow. So they're different at $5 million than they are at 15. But I will say the most important one is sort of getting to a point where we're not choking the business. So we don't have any one individual or any, maybe even that's 2 or 3 people in the leadership team that are sort of managing all the decisions. Like everything has to go through me, or everything has to go, through 2 or 3 people, as opposed to setting the company up to sort of function on, a set of rules, right? So we talk about this like operating system for the business, but when we don't have support, if we have 2 or 3 people in the leadership team that all the decisions are running through, then we only have the amount of capacity that those 2 or 3 people can do, right? So we need support. We need to support them in ways like, like with your company with a virtual assistant or offshore help, so that keeps them focused on, more of what's right in front of them, first of all. But then the second thing is not just adding people. So if we're just throwing people at it, at some point in time, we just become a very people-heavy company. So we have to sort of build in this culture of performance, right? So that everybody is focused on the things that is most important. So we call it the most critical outcome. Every role should have a most critical outcome. What is the most critical outcome for that role? And it's not the 26 things on the job description. It's one thing, right? And then it's maybe 5 or 6, we call them obsessions. Every seat should be obsessed with 5 or 6 things. Again, not 25 things. And if the CFO is thinking about these 5 things, and the second in command is thinking about these 5 things, and that's all they're focused on, that's how we sort of get out of the way, and the busy work sort of, falls away. And then we can, like use your company to find out, ways to sort of do the other 20 items on the job description list, and keep that seat really focused. That's key. And I think AI is playing a big opportunity here, because home services businesses, like you said, AI is not going to go clean the gutters or, turn a wrench, but AI is helping with the sort of mediocre tasks, the things that, would keep the technician or the owner or even the leadership team sort of distracted. AI is helping kind of clean that up.
Yeah, and I'm sitting here shaking my head as you're talking about, the more people. And I literally when I was just in the Philippines, we were talking, I just had my 10-day trip to my team there and visiting, because my entire management team and so forth is there. And, and a lot of companies that, we're seeing right now a lot of layoffs that are happening in the US that rapidly grew, during COVID, right? And a lot of it's just like, hey, throw more people at it. If we throw more people, we can get it done faster, right? Well, incorrect, right? Now you're putting more nodes on the network, and ironically enough, you slow things down because people can hide behind accountability, right? Information has to flow through more places, and things get overly, complex. And ironically enough, what took like 30 minutes to solve a problem now has to go through a committee that has to have a meeting about a thing, and then 2 weeks later, it's still not solved because, there's CYA involved in there as well, right? As far as people deciding, what the issue is.
Yeah, you touch on sort of a unique point there on the meeting thing. So I always tell people, don't go to a meeting that doesn't have an agenda, right? I know that's an old Cameron Harrell thing, but as a matter of fact, a meeting should be clean and concise, 60 minutes, 90 minutes, whatever it is, but we're not running past. When it's 1 p.m., that's it. If we need other meetings, we have other decisions made, we have to set that separately. So a meeting should have an agenda, and that way it keeps the team focused.
No, totally. It very focused and agenda driven to keep everybody's time kind of being managed appropriately, because things can get way off track. And I've caught myself down, right? Because you can open up all kinds of different rabbit holes, as you start going and engaging in meetings, but really trying to stay the course with it. Any other particular, elements from a roadblock standpoint? So you got the people issues, right? Getting the right people in the right seats and the right number of people, decision making, specifically in home and commercial services. What do you see some of the roadblocks that are unique to that industry as it relates to, it is a people business. You got to hire technicians. You got to keep them happy and engaged from a culture standpoint. I know there can tend to be some high turnover in that, in that trade, given sort of the nature of the work sometimes. You got logistics and routing. What do you see as some of the recurring things that are unique to that industry?
Well, one of the biggest things of what customers really want from a home services company or contractor is communication. Clear, concise, and real communication, not bullshit, right? Real communication. And so we talk about core values, and the leadership team says, hey, we're going to put up communication as a core value. And I always ask this question: hey, we don't put anything as a core value that we're not going to live 100% of the time. If you, the leadership team, are not willing to have good communication 100% of the time, then it's not a core value of the company. And what I mean by that is, let's just say you're a roofing contractor and you're replacing a roof on a house, and a shingle or tile or something fell off the roof and broke the customer's outdoor chair, their Adirondack chair on their deck. What do? Do you try and screw this back together? Do you sort of hide behind it? Do you bring it up when you're collecting the check? Those are all bad forms of communication. The right way to do this is immediately call Mrs. Smith and say, hey, you know what? We just broke your chair. We're going to solve it. I'm going to figure out how we're going to solve it, but I just want to let you know. Mrs. Smith now feels disarmed. She's like, hey, you know what? No problem. I'm sure you'll take care of it. But when you don't do that, when you communicate later or after the fact, that's not real communication. That's not good communication. And so that simple change, home services and contractors, if you adopt like real integrity and communication, you will have more work than you ever wanted.
Yeah, it's the authenticity, because word of mouth, when I think about my wife and the experience she has with, home service providers and what have you, it's that connection and appreciation she has that leads to the word of mouth, and which drives so much of their, their business kind of going forward.
100%.
Well, awesome, man. Well, thanks. I know we're kind of the top of the hour for you to kind of jump in, probably jump in and help another client of yours and support them in their process and journey. But it was great to hear some of the specific things that you're hearing. And everybody go visit nextlevelgrowth.com to go check out Chad's website and go check out that assessment. I know they got a new version they're actually launching here, kind of coming up as well, but you can kind of fill that out, get a PDF that kind of gives some clarity around those circle of things that he talked about that we've kind of been discussing here. So thanks, man. I appreciate it on. And I'll close everybody here. I got a quick case study I'll share specific to the examples. I know Chad's got a jump that we'll kind of touch on some things we're doing on the VA side to support home and commercial services. But thanks for joining me. I appreciate it.
Sounds great. Thanks, man. See you later.
Yep, absolutely.